Hi, everyone. So I got a bit of a download this morning and I wanted to share a component of that with you. And I think it'll really be valuable to you. I was kind of struck by it this morning. And perhaps we've heard some of this in some facet, but, a way to resolve conflict, right? So again, I think most of you who watch my videos know that I kind of have an obsession with watching near-death experiences, only because I want to just really get as much of a depiction of what spirit is and what it's like as I can. I just find it fascinating, and it expands my understanding of my true nature too, right? So it's just really fun for me anyway. But if you hear enough of them, some of them talk about pre-birth experiences, where they talk about how literally they sat and chose some of the key things they were going to go through in this life, some of the key lessons, some of the key characteristics they were going to have, and chose those things to go through so they could reconcile those experiences back to love, meaning this coming into an understanding that the body mind suffers, but the spirit, the soul, the source that we are, never suffers. And it's in that recognition of who we are that one remembers itself, and one recognizes itself, and one is able to discover itself, that it is never harmed, and it always was just there, perfect. So, the body mind, part of what the body mind does is judge. The body mind judges, it criticizes, it compares. It is literally exists to do those things. It thinks it, and that's what it does. So when you're dealing with somebody who you're not approving of their behavior, the best thing that we can do for someone in that moment is release the energy of compassion to them. And this may be through an act of compassion. That is super powerful. It also could be just through the energy of compassion. And here's what I mean by that. If you see someone and you're thinking to yourself, boy, that is a bad choice, right? What you can do is just say in your heart to them and just send them this energy of love and just say, I know that perhaps you have predetermined that you're going to make some of these decisions to go through. And I just honor your path. I honor your path as a body, mind, and as a spirit. And I honor your journey. And even though I may, this body, mind may do it differently. This body, mind may see it differently. I honor your journey, and I honor that you think that this is the right decision for yourself. Or even if you don't think it's the right decision for yourself, you are compelled to make this decision because of something that perhaps you've chosen to go through. And I just honor that, because Lord knows I've made some decisions that perhaps weren't in my best interest, right? And I went through those things and I learned a lot. I grew a lot. I'm grateful for a lot of those things that I've gone through, right? And so, if you hear somebody talking about somebody's, decisions and gossip, it happens, right? Just in your heart, just say to yourself, I just honor your path. I honor the path that you're on. And it doesn't say you're condoning their behavior. It doesn't make it okay. I'm not suggesting if someone is, if you are in an abusive situation, I'm not suggesting you put up with that or condone that. Or tolerate that abusive behavior. That's a different scenario. I'm just talking about if you're dealing with people in a day-to-day scenario, and the way to help our fellow person along is release compassion when perhaps they're not deserving of it. Or even if they are deserving of it, just releasing that energy of compassion. Because what that is actually oneness. That is one recognizing one. That release of compassion to say, I honor your path. I see what you're going through. And I recognize me in you. One recognizes one. And that actually allows them to be freed up a little bit. Because really what happens when you talk about the frequency of emotions, the higher frequency emotions, compassion, peace, love, joy, kindness, patience, all the fruits of the spirit of oneness that we are, those are all very high vibration because they are connected to one. It's a sense of oneness involved in all of that, right? The lower vibration emotions, I'm not necessarily going to call them negative. They're just lower in vibration. They feel negative because they are separation. It's a sense of separation. Of course, we are never separate, but it's a sense of separation, right? So the lower vibration emotions of fear, anger, guilt, all of those things are connected to a sense of separation from love, meaning lack of approval, lack of control, lack of safety, lack of connectedness to love. So when you can actually release compassion to somebody who is maybe not deserving, maybe making bad choices, maybe going through something, that they've chosen to go through, releasing compassion to them releases that oneness energy to them and kind of helps them along their path. It's one of the best things we can do for our fellow human traveler is release compassion, either in acts or in energetic form. When we judge, we kind of further their separation. We further pile on the sense of negative emotion or low vibration emotion, which doesn't assist them. And maybe you don't want to assist them. I get sometimes, you know what? It's okay if the body mind gets annoyed, right? We don't have to pretend to be, toxic positivity, right? Like we can acknowledge that our humanness is like not amused, but our spirit is still acknowledging, I honor your path. And even just releasing that emotion, I honor your path. So I have kind of an example of this. There was a moment, and I won't go into details, but there was a moment in my family where there was an individual who judged someone in my family pretty harshly for something that they did. And it caused a rift, for a long time. And between the sides of the family, and it was hard, it was like, wow, it was tough. Well, years later, said person had a similar situation. And another person involved came to tell me about it in a way that was like, wow, did you hear, blah, blah, blah. And I am no angel. I am a human being, and I have human emotions, and I have my human, negative separated emotions, right? But in that moment, I thank Spirit so much for showing me clearly. I knew that what they were being judged for was so silly, and what they were being judged for was going to be like a no big deal thing for them. It's going to be fine. And I just said, look, God bless them in that situation. And I meant it, right? There have been plenty of times where I've not done that, right? I'm not trying to be over here like, this is what I do every single time in those types of situations. But in that moment, I just thought, God bless them. And I mean it. Like it's going to be fine, and they're going to see that. And they're actually going to see that the action they took earlier to be so judgmental was so foolish. There's not an I told you so that's even necessary, because they're just going to see it. And you know what? When they see it, it's going to melt their heart in love, because it's going to be wonderful for them. And great, And so I just think that if you come across these situations in life, the most powerful thing you can do for your fellow traveler going through something brutal, making brutal choices, is honor their path and say, you know what? I've been there. We've all been there being a knucklehead from time to time, right? Or just being really foolish and making bad decisions, or making decisions we didn't know were foolish. If we knew better, we would maybe choose better. And, you know, there've been so many moments in my life where somebody showed me compassion, and in the face of perhaps I knew better on something. And does that not just help you want to be better? Like when somebody shows you compassion in the face of you deserve to get what you get, right? If somebody shows you compassion in that moment, does that not just change you? Changes your energy, right? So I just wanted to share that the best thing we can do is give our fellow traveler compassion, because it is one recognizing one in the other. So hopefully that's helpful for you. It just meant a lot to me today, so I wanted to share. Have a good night.